Energy Stadion in Cologne, they would be on their feet applauding that effort by wonderful Copenhagen. It wasn't enough on the night thanks to that Bruno Fernandes penalty in extra time, but on a fraction of the budgets and the wage budget that Manchester United can enjoy. Brian Kerr, Copenhagen made United strapped for everything tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, it just goes to show you that Solbakken is a very good manager. You know, he went away from England with his tail between his legs and go well for him at Wolves. But his team put in a smashing performance tonight. But, you know, United won 1-0, but they had enough chances to win more convincingly. The worrying thing probably is that Copenhagen made a few clear-cut chances which they didn't take. And the manager said before the match, when we get 2 or 3 chances, if we get them in the match, we've got to take them. Had they taken that chance or two, given how well they defended and how well that goalkeeper did, he was absolutely brilliant. It could have been more troublesome for United to only win 1-0. Look, they're through and they'll have a day extra's rest than the winners of the Sevilla Wolves match. But looking at them at the end of the match, they need it looks like they might need a week's extra rest. They look tired.
Well, they look tired and mightily relieved, you'd imagine, Niall. But as Brian says, in fairness to United, they did have 26 shots and only had a penalty to show for it. I mean, is that the true reflection of the match when the dust settles on tonight?
Yeah, well, they got a little bit frustrated and they came up against a goalkeeper who was invincible on the night. In fact, I think Ståle Solbakken squeezed every ounce of energy and passion and courage from his team, and United found it difficult because the last chance, the last effort, there was either last-ditch tackles or great saves from the goalkeeper, so the tension mounted. And it shot many times the camera to Solskjaer, and he was biting nails on the bench. It wasn't as easy as it should have been. It's all smiles now. But one hell of a fight put up by Ståle Solbakken and his team, and they pushed United all the way. I wonder, has that taken an awful lot out of them? Will that be a problem?
Indeed. I just wonder, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about to say to Bruno Fernandes, you have to do it all again next Monday night, because they are through to the semi-finals. They play either Wolves or Sevilla. Just about, though, we'll have analysis and reaction from the lads after the break. 120 minutes of hard graft in Cologne, and thanks to that man's penalty, Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United are through to the Europa League semi-finals. The two Norwegian coaches shake hands, or certainly bump fists, after what was a really gruelling and gripping quarter-final. Chaps, we talked at half-time about the way United started the match and the application that Copenhagen showed from the start. Did United ever recover from that poor start of the game that they had, Brian? Or
I thought they were
take them a while to get in?
I thought they were very dominant in the second half, and it looked like Copenhagen were running out of steam, but just about hanging in. Then the substitutions helped them a little bit. They got a bit more energy. First match I've seen with 6 substitutions on the 6 substitutes on the pitch when it got to extra time. But it often came down to the battle between the goalkeeper Johansson, who was superb against the whole Manchester United front line, and those saves were critical in terms of keeping the match alive, because at 1-0 they can always get one chance and score, and they did make a few opportunities, they just didn't take them. United will be disappointed that they didn't finish the match off in normal time, having to go through another 30 minutes in the circumstances of these games coming fast and furious is not the best situation for them at all.
In fairness, Niall, you did point out when at the end of normal time and when Juan Mata was coming on to the field, you thought that was a good thing, and it did seem to provide them a bit of incision, ultimately leading to the penalty that they got for the only goal.
So he's such a good, tidy player, as we know, and with tired legs around him, it would have made life a little bit easier for him than it would, say, if he was starting the match. And players going down with cramp, etc. He slotted it in for the penalty. He played a great ball through just before it. The keeper saved, and of course United go and win the game because of this penalty. But that was a difference, all right. But there's a few things, though, that I'd add to say that it wasn't a perfect performance by United, far from it. And one I would say is Martial, who in the 90 minutes was non-entity, really. I didn't think he played anywhere near his capabilities, and I suppose he came alive when Mata came on the pitch and threaded him through. He gets brought down for the penalty, dubious penalty in my book. I don't think the defender did a lot wrong, but United are there. That's about the best thing for them. Yes, their goalkeeper kept the score down, and we must point to that, but it's not perfect.
But was you, Brian, during the match when we were watching, you felt they looked physically tired? You felt they seemed flat? Was it one team that were absolutely really up for this game? And for United's point of view, was there a little bit of, we've secured Premier League now, here we are, the season's continuing, that maybe they weren't mentally in the right place for the game?
I would say there was a bit of that about them. We saw some very sloppy passing in the first half. Ball's been overhit. Williams had a ball run under his foot. There was a few missed kicks. Martial's control let him down several times. The rhythm wasn't in their game. And maybe they did underestimate Copenhagen, given the level Manchester United are playing at every week and how easily they got through the group stages, where they rarely played a strong team in any match in the group, and they won the last 2 rounds. You have to remember, Tommy, 6-1 and 7-1 in aggregate in the last 32, the last 16. Bruges, with a reasonable reputation, couldn't give them a match, so they probably felt we'll be okay, we'll do enough, we'll just play in our normal style and we'll be grand. But they met opposition who were very determined, very tenacious,
and had
organised.
a goalkeeper, Niall, in fairness. I mean, Solskjaer has a bit of a problem with his own goalkeeper. He might be asking his old mate Solback, and how much for Mr. Johnson there.
Yeah, Carl Johansson, I think, or Johnson. We'll be hearing about him again, because that was just an extraordinary performance. That's the one for me. That was the most difficult one, because I thought he dived too low, but he gets his right hand up. He was just brilliant. There's no other words to describe it. He was inspired. It took a brilliant penalty to beat him. But everything else, this is mad. This is the damage he was doing against tired legs when he come on. That's a great slot through. And you think, that's it, game over, well done. And what a brilliant save he makes with his feet. And you'll see from this one as well. Watch the save from the feet. Mata again, what a brilliant save. He's dived thinking it's going low to his left, keeps his feet up, and his teammates, well, they've every right to pat him on the back. He was just extraordinary and deserves huge credit.
And they were, as a team, you know, in fairness, I know they were under the cosh, as you'd say, Brian, but I mean, heroic and throwing bodies on the line and attacking, as you pointed out.
Well, they played 4-4-2. Played 4-4-2, Tommy, from the start. Now, sometimes the two were dropping in. They weren't like Napoli, where the two were just in front of the 4-4, 30 yards in their own goal. They had a bit of a go and they made good opportunities.
Valiant they were, but beaten in the end.